This is Global News at 6.
Hi, thanks for joining us. Crews continue to battle a growing wildfire in central Saskatchewan tonight. While no structures have been affected by the blaze, nearly 30 people have been evacuated from their homes. Global's Kyle Benning joins us live now from Prince Albert with the very latest. Hi, Kyle.
Lisa, you can see behind me, smoke is still billowing on what's being called the Cloverdale wildfire. It's still out of control and crews are trying to get a handle on it. Provincial safety officials say it's grown since yesterday, currently around 3,600 hectares. Its wind is pushing it further east away from the city of Prince Albert. Numerous resources are being called in to fight the wildfire about 4 kilometers northeast of Prince Albert. The city's fire chief says because the fire spans over multiple municipalities, several teams are on the ground.
Right from the get-go, we worked as a unified command. We set up a joint response, and with that, there's communications. We have liaisons that are in their office, as well as they have members in our command posts.
There is concern gusts could shift, but fire crews have taken measures to stop the fire from growing if it changes direction.
Since the wee hours of the morning, we have been working on fire breaks. The Prince Albert Fire Department has worked extensively on sprinkling the residential structures within the area, and to date we've been quite effective.
Now, we spoke with a man who was evacuated yesterday. He didn't want to appear on camera, but said when he left his house, the fire was at the end of his block. He's hoping to return soon. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan is banding together to help the affected families. Emily Olson spoke with some of the people who are offering help, as well as one of the evacuees.
Evacuations continue as the fire just northeast of Prince Albert continues to rage. As the blaze rages on, fire crews are hoping for rain or for the wind to die down to limit the spread. Emily Olson, Global News.
Now, the winds are still blowing between 50 and 70 kilometers per hour. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says it won't have the fire under control for a few days. Lisa?
All right, Kyle Benning reporting live for us tonight. Thanks, Kyle. And now let's bring in meteorologist Peter Quinlan. And Peter, we're really needing Mother Nature to cooperate, aren't we?
As many work from home, this is what one Saskatchewan elected official has been looking at over the past month. Municipalities of Saskatchewan President Gordon Barnhart is still in Hawaii and will participate in the association's virtual convention from Maui. It's left some board members disappointed.
As a leader in your community and a leader in the province as he is, we have to set an example, in my mind.
Barnhart has a long record of public service, including as the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan for 6 years and interim president of the University of Saskatchewan. His term as head of the association expires next week, with the elections set for Monday. And the Saltcoats mayor is looking to keep his job. In his pitch to members, Barnhart says he attended all regional meetings over the last 4 years and has toured northern Saskatchewan every summer, other than the last because of the pandemic. When asked why he felt it was okay to travel to Hawaii now and not northern Saskatchewan over the summer, he says he doesn't feel it was greatly discouraged and will take all precautions set out by authorities when he comes home. You say it wasn't greatly discouraged, but we've heard both the Premier and the Prime Minister say on multiple occasions only travel, especially internationally, if it's essential. Do you think this warranted an essential trip to Hawaii?
I've given you my rationale for why we traveled here, and I'll stick with that.
There's only one person running against Barnhart, current Vice President of Towns, Roger Hayward.
I didn't want to see him get in by acclamation, because then that would be just him assuming everything is fine and what he did was right.
An Indigenous woman is recovering in hospital after an altercation with the security guard outside of this grocery store on Wednesday afternoon. It's resulted in the security company losing its contract with Freshco.
What are you? I'm security.
The FSIN says the woman's name is Annette, and she's 30 years old, from Deschambault Lake, part of the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation. The video runs for more than 9 minutes and shows the loss prevention officer on top of her and following her to her car. It was painful for one First Nations leader to watch.
I got a lot of anger. The poor excuse of a man this individual was. and his poor judgment. And had I been there watching, I would have kicked him right in the face while he had it down on the ground.
The second post says the behavior shown outside of the store is not tolerated or representative of Freshco's values. It adds the store will cooperate with police. The FSIN says whether the woman shoplifted or not, she was not being aggressive until the altercation with the loss prevention officer. The Saskatoon Police Service has charged her with theft and assault. No charges have been laid against the security guard, but officers are still investigating. Jade Ajkate saw it all firsthand and says the woman was complying when the plainclothes security guard asked to see the contents of her bags, but she refused to go back in the store.
She was being very calm and stern that she did not want to go with him, and he then put her in a position to be handcuffed, like with her hands behind her back.
And that's when Jade pulled out her phone. The video has been seen thousands of times. The security guard trying to detain the woman from Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation for more than 9 minutes. Saskatoon Tribal Council says it has secured a lawyer on her behalf and is asking the woman to get in touch.
So open the hand, step 5 feet stride, hand move.
Joel Peterson is a former Saskatoon cop who now runs a business training security guards and loss prevention officers. He says each security company has its own protocols around when and how to engage with an alleged shoplifter, but notes for the most part, collecting evidence is the most useful.
If you're able to identify the person, you can always follow it up and provide that information to the police, because at the end of the day, it's the police that are going to be doing the investigation.
Saskatchewan First Nations leaders say the woman was recovering in hospital and that she is traumatized by the event. Jade wishes she had done more.
I wish I had just got in between them. I wish I had put her in a position to get away.
Many of us learned a new language, found a hobby, or binged the Netflix library. But Sophia Lacroix and Kai Chen are looking at doing something a little different.
We were pretty bored and we needed something to work on and work towards. So late one night we were brainstorming ideas of possible ways that we could have a positive impact on our community.
Seeing plastic bottles in green spaces had them thinking of ways to reuse what one person considered trash for their treasure. The pair started their own company, which converts plastic pop bottles to filament for 3D printers. Their process also uses less energy compared to the traditional manner of recycling bottles, ultimately reducing our carbon footprint. They intend to give the filament to their high school, Bishop James Mahoney, giving classmates a refill when the cartridge is empty.
Learning doesn't just happen in school. You're going to take what you learn and you can apply it to, real life situations. These kids are starting a business from scratch, essentially, doing something that not a lot of other people in the world are doing.
So it takes a bit of force just to get it out.
Setting up the business was hampered by the pandemic. The machine that converts the plastic to filament was sent from Russia and took weeks to deliver. But the rewards make their efforts worth it.
We know that 3D printing filament can cost a lot of money. So just using these bottles, they cost probably a couple cents each. It can be really helpful for our schools.
Sophia and Kai are still testing the filament on their school's 3D printer and hope it will be used by high school students in the near future. Kyle Benning, Global News.